there, maybe they don't care, like.
Yeah, they didn't think it through. So.
Yeah.
Мы заказали такси Лифт. Интересно, что водитель очень вежливый. И тут очень часто замечаю, сзади можно найти либо журналы, либо провода, либо иногда воду. Мы едем по городу Лос Анджелесу, и если будет видно, тут табличка Убер и табличка Лифт. Наверное, против солнца не очень хорошо видно. Я уже пробовал здесь такси Убер. В принципе, приезжали индусы, машины неплохие, но могу сказать так, что Лифт мне нравится гораздо больше, потому что мы ездим на нем третий раз. И всегда это были либо Мазды. Сегодня с утра Кадиллак Эскалейд джип. Сейчас мы едем на Лексусе 300. И средняя поездка, вот сейчас мы проезжаем примерно $15 за поездку через, примерно треть Лос-Анджелес. То есть цены классно, я не знаю, Убер за такие деньги возил бы или нет. И, к слову, мы вчера пытались уехать с Марины Дель Рей на Убер. Мы отпускаем заказ по дешевой линии, ни один водитель не берет, уезжаем. Опускаем заказ уже по более дорогой линии, чтобы его точно забрали. И такая же история, то есть водители просто игнорируют, уезжают. Кладем заказ на линию Лифт, обычная линия дешевая. И несмотря на то, что ехать примерно 2,5 мили, через 2,5 мили машина ловит заказ, приезжает нам и уезжает. Я попробовал сделать cancellation, мы попали на cancellation fee, написал bug report, и я удивился тому, что мгновенно вернули эти $5, которые списали из-за того, что мы не сели в машину. Тут же заказали другой автомобиль и списались деньги уже с его поездки. Но мы все равно компенсировали чаевыми. Наш товарищ не остался без оплаты. Вот могу сказать, что Лифт мне здесь нравится пока гораздо больше, чем, как это правильно будет сказать, Uber X. Вот, и водители поприличнее, и намного приличнее машины. То есть то, что я видел раньше в Убере, это были как бы средний класс. На Лексусе и на Кадиллак Эскалейд меня еще никто пока не катал. Так что поспрашиваем сейчас водителя. If it's okay, may I ask you some question?
Yeah.
As I see, you working, you got stamps Uber and Lyft on your window. You cooperate with both of this company?
Yeah.
How do you think for the drivers, which one is better?
Lyft is probably better. They have better environment than Uber. Uber really messed up the system, lowered the prices to the bottom bare minimum. Lyft is a better company overall. They allow, well, both of them allow tips, but you can actually tip in the system, and Uber doesn't allow it. In fact, they got sued because they were saying that tips were included when they were not. So they got sued over that, and in fact they're getting sued in every state and different agencies. It's pretty bad for Uber, but they're making money, so.
So it's a company which just make money for the probably owners.
Yeah.
And Lyft is much.
It's much better for the drivers. Yeah. Yeah.
Yesterday we tried Uber and Lyft on the Marina Del Rey, and no Uber driver wanna pick us up. I don't know why. We wait about 15 minutes when we ask Lyft, and in 2 minutes we get a car. And as I see car in the Lyft much better. I never expect that I can get Lexus. It's very good.
You can get it in both. It just depends if you get lucky. Yeah. It's all luck. Uber X, they have a more premium service, so does Lyft. I do both. And I was just in the area, and I just put regular also. So you guys got me by luck. Yeah.
Oh yes, I think we got.
Yeah, sometimes you can get Mercedes in both Uber and Lyft.
How many rides you can make in one day? I mean, in both companies.
Depends how many hours you put. With Uber, you could do a lot more because their presence got a lot bigger than Lyft. Because,
yes, way bigger, much more advertising.
Yeah, they lowered more advertising. They lowered the prices, so
like dumping.
Yeah, so and they run promotions, and so people got used to Uber. In fact, over here in the U.S., whenever you instead of oh, you're gonna take a Lyft, then you take a taxi, they're like, oh, I'm getting into Uber. It's always Uber because it's such a large presence over here.
I see. Just a lot of buzz about it right now. So.
And as I see, prices in Lyft and Uber are cheaper than in the, for example, yellow cab. It's
Yes. That was the decision of the companies. Uber cut them, and Lyft had to follow in order to. In the beginning, it was good for everybody. Lyft drivers, Uber drivers. A lot of the Uber drivers were ex-taxi drivers, but taxis, it's less, less work, less demand, and also they saw that it was a new thing and that they could be their own bosses. So all of them jumped from taxis to Uber or Lyft, and next thing you know, they started slashing the prices and slashing. And a lot of the Uber drivers were really, how do I put it? Well, they were screwed over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Что значит screw?
It's because they would buy cars like my car. I'm not doing this to pay for my car. I do it just for extra money. But other people, they bought a new car. They bought a nice expensive car, and they were making good money to pay for the car and to live. Then they lowered the prices, and now they have to work a lot more, and they take a lot less home, and they spend a lot more. So in the end, the company is always getting their percentage, and Uber drivers and Lyft drivers, they have to work more.
Okay, thank you so much, mister.
No problem. They try to make it as legal as possible, but in the beginning, a lot of the Uber drivers would get misdemeanors. They would get citations. They would get all this because it wasn't legal to pick up people like that.
So for the taxi, you have to buy or get license, and Uber in the beginning was kind of taxi. That's why it was a little bit illegal.
Yeah, because you can't just go around being your own private taxi. You can't just pick anybody on the street. It's a misdemeanor over here, so you would go to jail.
And oh, really, in jail?
And now how they found out
the solution?
To find?
I quite don't know what their solution was, but I guess they worked around the system and they kind of cooperated. Now the driver had to get background checks. They have to before a lot of the insurance Uber, let's say if I got into an accident before, Uber or Lyft, they wouldn't cover anything. They didn't have their own insurance. It would be my insurance, and my insurance wasn't commercial insurance, so it wasn't fit for carrying other passengers or anything like that. It was just like my own personal.
Yeah, for you, yeah.
I'm going to work, somebody hits me, or I hit somebody, it covers it. But a lot of policies were, canceled because they were like, oh, you work for Uber, we don't cover that, because commercial insurance is different from
it's
personal
much more
insurance.
Expensive, probably.
It's much more expensive. So taxis have thorough background checks. They're heavily regulated. They have commercial insurance, like I think $1 million insurance. Keep forgetting the exact number, but it's high up there. And Uber got away with a lot. I guess all this litigation is still pending. So I mean, they've only been around for a couple of years, and all the litigation is still going on. So
Still going on.
So right now they got sued over saying advertising that in our wage the tip was included. They got sued. They lost. Right now they're getting sued that we're independent contractors. But as independent contractors, we would need to know like, oh, how far you're going, all this, how much you're getting paid. Have some say in it. But unfortunately, we don't have say in it. So we're treated more like employees than independent contractors.
Yeah.
So they got sued over that, and they lost it in California. They're probably going to try to appeal, but they're like everywhere. Every single state has sued Uber. They got kicked out of Texas.
Oh, really? Even kicked out?
Austin, Texas, yeah. Because they didn't want to comply with what they wanted. So they got kicked out of there. And another company moved in and that complied with it.
Oh, I see.
Very interesting.
Problem so far? Or
they do, but they try to comply as much as possible. And, but yeah, I mean, like I said, they're better. So a lot of the drivers actually are happy with Lyft.
Yeah, so drivers prefer choose Uber or to choose Lyft over Uber.
If Lyft had more more demand, I would do Lyft full time. I wouldn't even touch Uber. Yeah.
I see. Just not enough advertising and people don't know it better. Interesting.
Thank you so much.
So we will be using Lyft while we are here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I would say the company itself is pretty bad. I mean, the drivers, I mean, have nothing to do with it. But I mean, most of them do both. So either way, I mean,
at
it
least
helps
tips.
out. Yeah.
At least in Uber you can leave tips and they don't screw over.
Yeah.
What is included and what's not.
Yeah. Them from us being classified as independent contractors, but we're treated like employees. So
you don't have
they
to
don't
choose,
they don't pay for gas. You know, these are our cars. You know.
And the company is setting up the prices for the rides, right?
And,
So
What's the approximate price of this car in the US?
new, like 45,000.
Pretty big.